Today I'm tackling a problem that I've had in my shop for a very long time, and that's dust collection. I have dust everywhere after a project, and even though I do have a shop vac that I connect to the ports on the back of my tools, I somehow still have to clean up. So today I'm going to be building a couple of things that are going to help out with this dust. So this is what I've been working on. I got a boom arm here that's going to provide a vacuum hose to where I need to in the shop. Makes it easier for me to work, less tangle of the power cords for the shop vac, plus the tubes, everything else. It just makes it so much easier, and it's gonna help with getting those attachments on like a sander or other tools that I have. So that's gonna be a huge benefit in the shop. But not only that, we have this right here, which is the PVC shop vac system. I have it set up so I can turn the shop vac on, the tubes and everything for the boom, but I can also change it to the miter saw. So depending on what tool I'm using, I can have the miter saw. I could just have everything set up, and it's nice. So I have that, plus I have this over here, which is the air filter for the fine dust. And the fine dust just gets everywhere in my shop. So when I'm sanding or cutting anything with dust or sawdust, that fine dust just goes up into the air, and after a couple of hours it will settle, and it settles everywhere, and it just gets everywhere, and it's dusty, and it's not good. So this is going to definitely help. So while I'm working, I can turn this on and help with air quality. So let me show you how I did it. So this is what I have currently. It's just a shop vac with the dust collector on the side. It's a cyclone dust collector, so when I turn the vacuum on and it sucks all the dust in, it leaves it in here before it gets to the vacuum, which is great because this keeps the filter cleaner longer. I've had this for many years, and I've not needed to change the filter out on it. And it's great because it keeps it all in this bucket, and if it's pure sawdust, I can just throw it to the chicken in the chicken coop and be on my way. There are a couple things that we need to modify on this to make it a little bit more efficient, so we're going to do that today as well. So the one thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be shortening the length of this hose that comes from the vacuum into the dust collector. So I'm reducing the length of this hose so that I can add more hose on to the system in other parts.
Flipper?
There. This TV needs to go. Last time I used the TV was like 2 years ago. Thought, hey, I'm gonna put a TV in the shop and, you know, put a show on, but it seems like every time I put a show on, I'm watching the show and not doing my work. So it's gonna go. It's gonna find a new home.
No! Harry, no! Don't look at the light! I can't help it. It's so beautiful.
So this is what I'm talking about. All this fine dust that just collects everywhere in the shop. And in some places I can't reach and clean. So I'm making the boom arm with solid pieces of wood. This is a 1x6 by 10. And the reason for it is because the span of my arm is gonna go past the 8-foot mark. Otherwise I would have done it with plywood. It is gonna make it heavier, but we are gonna reinforce it with a stronger hinge and with a cable so that it can hold weight of the wood itself and everything that I'm going to put in it and on it. So I've already made my measurements. I'm going to cut to the length, which is about 10 feet or about 9.5 feet, but we'll make these cuts and then we'll start putting it together. When cutting your boards, always look at the ends that you're cutting off. Like this one here has a nasty little knot. I want this to be the off cut. I don't want that to be part of my finished board, so that's going to be the part that I cut off. So this is going to be the top part. It's a 4-inch wide board, and how it's going to support the whole boom arm itself is I have this pipe left over from another project that I had, and it's going to work perfect. So I got these flanges here with a 90-degree elbow. And we have these smaller pieces here. We'll just screw these top ones on real tight. The ones on the top go tight, and the one on the bottom goes tight. So this is tight with this. This is tight with this, and then this is loose. So now, when that's on the wall, that's going to hinge back and forth. Stay relatively loose like they are now. And there you go. It should swing just fine. That's the idea. We're going to put it into practice, and we're going to try to do it. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to drill a hole here to provide enough room for this to go through. So before I cut on my main board, I'm going to cut on this practice piece of wood. And I noticed that I was going all the way through, so I'm just going to turn it around and finish it off. That way I don't blow out and hit my table. That's actually what I want. I want that to be tight right in there. So I think that will work. All right, here we go. If you have a drill press, you can use a drill press. If you feel comfortable with the hand drill, you can do that as well. Okay. So on the boom arm, what I want to do is I want to remove some of this material in the middle, make it a little bit lighter. I don't need solid pieces on the side. I do for the top and the bottom, but not for the side. So what I'm going to do is drill some holes in this to get rid of some of the material. Right down that mark. So we're just going to all the way down. It wants to stay on that. So where this arm is going to be 4 feet in, I'm just going to drill a single hole on that line. So here are my boards. They're all finished. This side, I went from edge to edge and drilled out all the holes. Here where we have the single line, this is where the pipe for the hinge is going to be. And on this side, I left these spots open, put a French cleat on it so I can attach something to it. So this, we'll go ahead and sand these down, and then we'll put it together. So this is our top piece, and then these are our sides. This is the unfinished, unsanded side. So we are going to just attach these like so. Now I could do pocket holes on this and have it come up and hide the screws from the face, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm looking for strength, not for looks. So I don't care that the screw heads are going to be showing. Put glue at this corner here. So I can get a screw in and get this a little stable. And I'll put glue at the rest, pivot it in, put a screw in the end, and then work my way in the middle. Pre-drill so it doesn't blow out and ruin that nice piece that we worked hard for. When you can, try to avoid working with knots. Go to the left or right around it. Knots are hard to drill in and they are weak. Once you get a screw in, it will burst and you'll have problems. And if you have glue coming out, that's okay. You can clean it up, and if it's too dry to clean up, just run over it with a sander at the end. Okay.
That's using a head.
Okay, so we have some improvements to do. Okay, I fixed it. So, there's a couple of issues that I had with it. One, the chain was too small. Got a heavy duty rated for the weight of the boom arm. Plus the eye hooks are beefier, so they're gonna hold it. I moved the hook where the chain connects to the wall away from the axle of the pivot point of the boom arm. So now it's not perfectly straight, but it's a lot better than it was before. Now I've got to figure out a way to get this connected to my shop vac. And I have a couple of ideas on how I'm going to do that. And I'm going to use PVC pipe. We'll work on that now. So, I'm going to put a Y trap, or put a Y on. We'll put that right there. Yeah, that should work. So these are used for water, for sewer drains. They're rubber couplers. I use them for the shop vac to attach the pliable corrugated vacuum hose to the hard PVC pipe. So dry fitting everything up front. Want to make sure that I have everything where I want it to be. That's good enough. Good. And for this bottom, I got a 2-inch for the 2-inch PVC pipe, and I have a 1.5 inch for my 1.5 inch hose. So put that in here, and this is the piece that I actually cut off earlier from my shop vac to make it a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to use this to tie into the system so we have the minimal amount of hose for the optimal amount of section. So one thing I forgot is I'm having a Y here to go off to the miter saw, and this one go up to the boom arm. I forgot to put in the shutoff for this. So when I'm using the miter saw and I don't want to use this, I want to be able to shut the flow off here. So I'm going to put that in now. There, on off. Now this might be hard to see, but for the miter saw, what I've done is I'm going to be putting in this rubber Y. It is a 1.5 inch. So I got the adapter, the coupler for going from 2-inch to 1.5 inch. And then I will be putting off 2 hoses. One will go up to the top of the miter saw, and the other one will go to down by the blade to hopefully catch more dust on the miter saw station. So this is the makeshift PVC system. So we got the two lines. We got the one going in the miter saw, and then we have the one coming up to the boom arm. And then we have the shut-off valves for both. So when we're using the miter saw and not the boom arm, we can turn that off, and vice versa. So this is a device that measures the airflow. Use it for HVAC. Today we're going to use it for the vacuum to see how much this sucks before connecting it to the whole system. So there is our speed there. 1456 is the maximum feet per minute. This is what we're going for. Hopefully we'll get around that. Maybe because of the amount of piping that we put in, we'll probably get less. But let's hook it up and find out. Okay, so I detached the old hose and plugged in the system. I'm thinking about maybe I might put an adapter here so I can easily swap this out and attach the other hose just in case if I need to use it elsewhere in the shop that the boom arm doesn't reach, or need to take it elsewhere out of the shop. But for now, I'm gonna just keep it like this. So now let's test it out. So we're at 1161, so not bad. Airflow is still good, so pretty happy with that. So the basics of this is it has 2 sides with a 45-degree angle for the filter. Then we have a back here and a bottom, and an open top for the fan. So let's put this together and I'll show you how it looks at the end. I'm using 1/4 inch plywood. I want it lightweight. It's not going to be holding a lot of weight. And then these pieces of wood are just scraps that I had. They're gonna help with bracing this box a little bit better, so when we put the fan on top, it has a little bit more structure to it. And with these filters, you got to make sure that the airflow is going the way it should. In this case, we want it to go in. Let's see. Yep. So we want it to go in this way and then out the back, or out the top in this case. So to get this to fit on this box, just made this basic, it's ripped down 2x4s and they're just glued together on an L. So I want the long side, so the 1.5 inch plus the width of the cut. I want that on the side there. So I'll put it right here, tack it in place. And the fan, just right on top there. Now depending on the box fan that you get, you might get the rounded edges and there might be a gap there. That should be fine. We can always fill these with foam or whatever we need to. But to make this sit on top where I want it to go, I'm going to install French cleat here and a French cleat on the boom arm. So a couple years ago I had cut these down to put on my shop wall to hang up my tools. And I have an extra couple pieces, so this will work great. then these two pieces are gonna go up on the boom. So I went to put in this box that I built for the air filtration onto the boom, and the boom is sturdy, it's well built, but when I put it on there, it puts off the equilibrium of the boom, and it won't stay in place. When I put it on the boom, I can move it to where I want to, but it won't stay in place because of one side is now heavier than the other, so it likes to go that way. So I think I might instead put it on the wall. I have some French cleats already up. I can just move some tools around, reorganize it, and have it on a permanent spot on the wall. But it's on a French cleat, so if I need to take it down, put it on the workbench, or put it somewhere else, I can move it. So I'm still getting that mobility that I want. Just, it's not going to work on the boom. So that's the basic design of this. It's fairly simple. It's a 1/4 inch plywood. It's fairly lightweight. Fits pretty much any filter that you need to. I've designed it for the 20 by 20 by 1 inch, and it holds a box fan. So this box fan, it's just held in place with zip ties. It's fairly simple, and it's going to do its job. So the last thing I'm going to do to this boom arm is install these lights. Bought these a while back and was going to use them for a different project, but today's the day to use them. So we'll get this string up and we'll take a look at how they are. What do you think? Okay, we're all done. We got the boom with the vacuum hose attached and working. We have lights on it, potential for running power with it so that I can have power at the end of the boom. We got the filter up, the dust filter, so all that fine dust that just lands everywhere and anywhere in the shop is now gonna be collected here, or mostly collected here. And I've opened up a whole lot more to do with the miter saw and the dust collection on the miter saw. So it's pretty exciting. So I'm glad that I got it done. So thanks for tagging along. If you have any questions or comments or any suggestions that I could do to make this a little bit better, leave a comment. I love reading your comments. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.